Kids, aloha. We're back with another Sunday. A Sunday that you'll remember for many days to come. I believe you will. So what we have is episode 61. Oh my goodness, where have all these episodes come from? Well, the last episode was on diagnosing dreams. And apparently there was a few people that enjoyed that one, and I didn't even get to finish any of the stuff because dreams, as we all know, come in all different sizes, all different dialects, all different symbologies. That's the way dreams work, kids. And there's people out there I can still feel they're saying, I don't have any dreams. I don't want any dreams. Well, that could be why you're not dreaming. As I said, you have to ask for your dreams. You say, Guardian Angel, I want to have my dreams. I want protection in my dreams, and I want control of my dreams. Remember, you have to always ask that, kids, before you go to la la, to bedtime, to have sweet dreams. Sweet dreams will always come your way when you're asking for that help. When you're not, as again, it could be a hodgepodge. That means anything could happen. So it's better to have more control than not having control, as we all say in life. It's better to be in control than out of control. Negative things happen. Negative things happen when you're out of control. And positive things happen when you are in control. And that's the way it works here on this little planet. So let's just touch upon some of the things that I didn't touch upon. So right now, I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil. You little preschoolers and kindergartners, just scribble something down and you'll know in your mind that you'll be able to, figure it out later on. And all the other folks that are out there that have more experience, I suggest you get a piece of paper and pencil also. And if you missed my last episode, you might want to go back and write some of that stuff down. It's not necessary, really, when it comes down to it. If you want to know your dreams, you just keep asking yourself. But I have a foundation for you to work on with just a couple ideas on diagnosing more of your dreams. So this thumbnail will be more dreams. So let's just say you have a dream of gambling. Gambling, well, as we know, gambling, you can get anything through gambling. And that's, in a dream, it's going to be, are you gambling with your life? Are you gambling with friends? Friendship? Are you gambling with your health? Are you gambling with your business? Are you gambling on what level? You got to put that together. That's why it's important to write down not just gambling, although that'll probably be all you got by the time you're sitting down for breakfast. I remember everything. All I remember is gambling. That's why it's important when you get up in the middle of the night or in the morning at least, you'll have a little bit more writing down than by the time you get to breakfast and lunch and dinner. You pretty much have, unless you are really, really, you're able to do that. I'm still, I can't, I'm not able to. Only a few of them, but more than likely, I write them down religiously. So if you have a fire or a fever in your dream, it could be something like illness coming on, temper, some kind of destruction, or even purification. If you have fire, or a fever in your dream. If you have fear, some kind of fear in your dream, this can also mean, error, something you have, your error, or it could be sin. As we know, the episode on kahunas, the Hawaiian culture, well, the kahunas for sure, they understood there was no sin except one, and that was not to be connected to the source, God, or to hurt someone, to hurt man, a man or woman or child. You hurt any of these three, man, woman, or child, hurt them physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as far as their feelings, that was a sin, which I totally agree with, by the way. So we have smoking. If you're smoking in your dream, could be very, very possibly an emotional disturbance or something negative. And smoking, kids, as you well know, you should not be smoking. Even well, Uncle Martin grew up with the Flintstones. At the end, we had to go to bed after the Flintstones. Hey, the commercial's on. It's a cartoon. We don't have to go to bed. Well, that was with Barney and Fred outside the house, the stone house they had, like a smoking away their cigarettes. And we as kids were brought up to see smoking was positive because the tobacco company was putting out commercials right up until about, I believe it, right up to the Dick Van Dyke Show, for crying out loud, if I remember. Something like, and what was Dick Van Dyke? I believe it was Kent cigarettes. Anyway, how do you remember these things? I don't know. It was a commercial. That's what I'm saying, kids. Commercials are subliminal. And they want to sell you something. I went into that on episode 39, colors. And I had colors as the thumbnail, but I didn't put subliminal in there. So it's colors and subliminal on episode 39 if anybody missed that one. A rabbit. You dream of a rabbit. A rabbit's going to be signifying some type of sex. Why a rabbit? Because rabbits multiply. They multiply. If you ever had a rabbit, kid, you know how they multiply. And if you don't have a rabbit, well, actually, you probably just want one rabbit. But if you have a rabbit growing in your dream, that could be these desires that are also growing within you that you might have to look at. If you have a rabbit on the fence would signify you're still on the fence, whether or not to go on one side or the other on that topic. So then we have unused tools. You have unused tools around you in your dream. These would be your talents, your unused talents and unused abilities that you might have to look at a little closer. If you have unused tools around you, it means you're not using these capabilities that are within you to use. If you have something with sliding down a hill, could very well mean you're backsliding in your life or whatever that next part of the dream is that you're sliding down. Your bicycle or your motorcycle, that's a balance. Are you driving down the road on your bicycle or motorcycle backwards? That's a danger. It's a danger. Not only is it dangerous to do that, but your dream is telling you that you have to have more balance, and maybe you're going backward in your whatever you think you're balancing okay, but really you're going backward in your balancing. Also, kids, you little ones out there that just don't know you're still in your training wheels, well, you don't have to really worry about balance because you have that. But when you get the training wheels off, you're going to learn about balance. Yes, you will. As in life, we have to balance ourselves on all different kinds of levels. We have the broom would have to be sweeping. If you have a broom, what are you sweeping? Are you sweeping? Well, sweeping, you have to clean. You have to clean. When you have a broom, you clean. What are you cleaning in your dream? Are you are you cleaning up, or are you making more of a mess? Or maybe the broom's in the corner and you're not using the broom. You might have to sweep some, whatever it is, out of your life, or sweep the dirt up, whatever that dirt is. What else would you have to do? A nail file. A nail file would have to be, you have to trim up the rough edges. The rough edges in your life, the nail file would signify. You have, you're locking the back door. That would be something that is unpleasant that you have in your life, that you're locking up in the back door, that you might have to look at a little more. We have all kinds of things to look at here, kids, when it comes to dreams. I'm only giving you a foundation on one of these things, but when you put them all together, that's when you really get the story. See? The story of what the dream means. As I said in the past, the dreams have helped Uncle Martin since he was 18 on the railroad, saving his life. So let's just say, when I said before, the tree, a tree being, yourself, as well as it could be a warning dream, like the one that I had with me climbing up that tree. When I was climbing up that tall tree, I was reaching for these limbs, and when I reached for both these limbs, the termites that were in the tree, I had nothing to grab onto, and now I was falling. I was falling forward. I woke up I was perspiring, and I saw all the red in that dream, and I said, "Ooh." This is when I first got into dreams. And then I said, well, that definitely seems like a warning dream. Well, you know what? I'm not going to be climbing any trees. Well, I didn't have to climb a tree. I just, as I said in that episode, that I climbed up on that pole to stop the engineer from going any further past the board. I had then lost my balance and was going forward. And actually in that dream it said, fear not, as I was falling. And then I remember when I was on top of the light post that I was not supposed to be on, close to 2.5, 3 stories high, when I was falling down into where I was doing, the voice said again, fear not. So I just looked where I had to land, and I did, and that's what happened. It came out okay. So the dreams can help you and protect you on so many different levels, kids. They can be totally literal, or they can be symbolic. That's all. We have drowning. Drowning is definitely, where are you drowning at? Well, obviously you're going to be in water. You could be in quicksand too. You drown in quicksand. But I'm just saying water. That would be drowning. Well, I had that episode at 50 when I was 3 years old. 3. And I remember drowning, but I didn't get any dream prior to that. If I did, I don't remember it. All I remember, my dreams starting from when I was 5. When I was 5, I remember my dreams. This is before I even got into dreams. I just, what do you remember? What do you remember? Remember that one, kids? What do you remember? That was episode 10A, when I was 22 months old, and what I was remembering. So I had to Google, because remember, you don't remember 10A. Yeah, what do you remember? I remember bro being put in my crib, and I remember mom's big belly and screaming out, I want a sister. And then what happened after that? And then I had to Google, was I like mentally thinking in this, or was I really so I Googled, when can you talk? I was 22 months old. Could I talk? Yeah. Google says you're a chatterbox at 22 months old. As a matter of fact, you learn 1 word a day. But you know what, kids? I think you're learning even more than Uncle Martin and your parents and guardians. I bet you're learning sentences. All you 22 months olds, that are out there listening to Uncle Martin, I bet you're learning whole sentences right now. This is what I'm saying. I don't want to gamble. I don't want to bet. But I feel it could be possible. Because all you kids out there, you are so leagues ahead of the people around you. You're definitely just the abilities that you have, you don't even know yet. And that's what I'm saying. You're all individuals that are different than anyone else. And I've already gone into that in the past episodes. You are also special that anybody that tells you that you're not, they just have more things to learn. That's all. So, drowning. Oh boy. I had that dream. I might as well throw it out there at you. It was with one of the experiences that I had after the spiritual mineral, after the hot springs. I came back home, and I had, I had some of the gang from the hotel following. I had them over my house. I had them right here in this room, as a matter of fact. And one of them, well, that would be another story. Let's just go with, what was her name? She came up from the hot springs. She was averagely wealthy. She had a house, and she was looking to, let's say, she was ready to settle down. She was ready. I'm ready to have a family. She said she's ready to have a family. And the other guy that was from the hot springs, he was there, and I was there. She was looking at both of us, and I was saying, well, you know how I am. I'm still. I've almost been married 4 times, as I said in the past, but I'm still pacing. I'm pacing myself. So when she was saying that, somehow he ended up leaving. And we were now together in the kitchen of this house that way. And I remember I had my big cast iron skillet. That's what I cook out of, cast iron. Keep my iron up. And remember, do not drink too much green tea. That was episode 47 with my 23-year-old dog and Uncle Martin drinking close to a gallon a day. If I missed the day, I would have been drinking a gallon and a half the next day of green tea, which takes your iron away from you. So we're standing around the stove. I'm making a quesadilla. A lot of cheese, tortilla. Anybody that doesn't know what a quesadilla, cheese crisp. So I'm making that, and I turned her, and she's wearing this really nice top. It's a white top, and it goes down, and it has frilly stuff, kind of frilly strings, and it goes down like that, down. Well, I went over to she's talking about how she wants to have a family, and I turned. I was at the table getting that ready, and I turned around while she's saying, "Well, I'm hearing she wants to have a family." I turned around. I said, "You're on fire." She said, "What?" And all the frilly things from down below her was so. We put out the fire. I thought, Uncle Martin thought this may be a sign. All right, kids, signs come in different ways. The bird goes by, the coyotes. Or he's just looking or whatever. These are all signs, kids. Anything you see, a snake going across the road, a snake coming at you, a spider, everything has a sign to it. Everybody knows that. I talked about that in the past. Anyway, Uncle Martin thought maybe this is a sign that I'm going to stay away from that anyway. I had no intention of having a family. So so we have a quesadilla, cheese crisp, and we're talking about, I don't know, we're really on the same level of understanding things, kids. We're definitely on a physical understanding of things. emotional, mental, and spiritual. We had all four of those as far as, well, I don't know about the physical because nothing ever happened there, but I'm saying the other three was definitely down. So after that, I said, because the kitchen and then the bedroom was right next door, and she was, I don't know what we were doing, something about, we were talking about, I don't know, the constellations and stuff, different constellations. We were talking about the stars and stuff. So we ended up in the bedroom. We're laying on the bed. We're both on the bed. We have our clothes on, laying on the bed. I had my hands folded. I think we were looking up at the ceiling. We were both looking up at the ceiling, and we were talking about, I believe, if I recall correctly, it was Hercules, the constellation Hercules, that was coming in. Even in 1970, it would have been 77. So 1977, the constellation. I didn't know until later that it was actually thousands of years prior to that, but really the scientists knew about it in the 60s, and we were talking about that, how the constellation Hercules is coming in and intermingling with our solar system. So that solar system and this solar system are moving all together. That's how solar systems work, kids. Which I do believe I brought up in episode 34. It was photons. The violet purple photons from Hercules that are coming in, we were discussing on the bed. Now, somewhere in between that discussion, the door bursts open. My dad pops in and says, he screams. I mean, we're doing nothing. We're just laying on the bed. And he's screaming, "This is not a house of ill repute." And I'm thinking, Dad, what are you talking about? We're just on the bed. We got clothes on. We're not doing nothing, Dad. And then he screamed. He said it again. "This is not a house of ill repute." I said, Dad, we're just discussing the constellation Hercules and how the purple photons are coming into our galaxy. That's all we're discussing, Dad. And he said, okay. He closed the door. Actually, I think he left it open a little bit. But I got, you know what? I got a little, I think it was more than disappointment that he didn't trust me, first of all. And the second of all was I didn't feel very comfortable anymore. So she said, "Why don't you come on over to my house?" Excuse me. Okay. Sounds positive to me. So we went over to her house, and I don't know what we ended up doing. I think we took a shower or something like that, and yeah, kid, you can do that. You can actually take a shower with somebody and not do anything. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I know on this planet Earth it doesn't usually end up that way, but it did for Uncle Martin. Okay, so now we go to bed, but we're not doing anything. We're just going to bed. I had a dream. And that's what I'm saying. Dreams. Do they really mean anything? Are dreams just a bunch of blah, blah, blah? Or are dreams really something to tell you when you're going in a positive direction or when you're going into a negative direction? So this was Uncle Martin's dream. I had a dream that I was on a boat. I was on a very big boat. And Jane was with me on this boat. And I don't know, it was like sunny, it was nice, there was birds, there was clouds, we're on the sea. The sea it's a nice sea. We're out in the sea, we're out in the ocean, for crying out. Hey, wow. So we're in the ocean, and all of a sudden, excuse me, in the middle of the ocean, what do you call those things? The big circles that suck you down? Oh, they go around, they just suck you down. Well, the boat is going toward this. And it got really dark out, and there was no lightning like that other one that I had. We're jumping over these dead trees, and the lightning's coming down. It wasn't like that, but it got really dark out, and I said, "I'm getting off this boat." So I dove off into the ocean. I left her on the boat. I don't know if that was positive or negative, but I just felt I feel safer off this boat. So then all of a sudden, I believe the boat and me and her, this riptide suction in the middle of the ocean that's bringing everything from the top down into the funnel. I kind of woke up, and I said, "This doesn't feel like a positive dream." So I'm not quite sure. I think she had a dream too, but I didn't quite remember what that was. But well, over breakfast, I didn't mention anything until breakfast. And I said, "You know what? I had a dream." And I told her the exact same thing, and I just told you. She looks at me and she says, "You know what? You know what? I, I think that may be a warning dream." I said, "You think? Do you think that we should further this relationship in any way?" Nah, I don't think so. So we both decided. And by the way, I kept friends with her and everything, and she did end up having a family. She's got 3 girls right now. Jane, wherever you are, hey, uh, girls are grown up now, I'm sure, probably in their 30s, probably by now. But anyway, we do get dreams, kids, and it's that would have been interesting to see how that would have ended up for Uncle Martin here down the road. I don't think it would have been positive, is what I'm saying. So since they saved my life prior to that, here I am at this point. Obviously, I'm gonna listen to my dreams to this very day. Now, I've noticed when I was going over my episodes that there was some thumbs down out there, all right, on Uncle Martin. I had some thumbs up, but I do recall where episode 54, I believe I got 5 up, 4 down. That's fine, because everybody has their own feelings on why they would give a thumbs up or thumbs down. Episode 33, I believe that was money and women, women, women. Well, I got a 2 and 2 for that one right now. I don't know, that kind of a push, I guess. And then episode 28, we got 4 down, 2 up on episode 28. Interesting. And then episode 27, we got a 2 and a 2, twofers. Kind of balanced there. And then episode 14, boy, at this time it's pretty interesting. We got 37 and we got 21. Now, why would that be, kids? All episode 14, well, that's because you can't watch it. I'm sorry. Well, I don't know if I just left it open for the parents to decide whether or not children would be watching that. And I don't really see a real problem with it, other than, well, maybe a couple of things, but not anything more than anybody's shoving at your kids right now, because they're really doing stuff in the school districts and just in the gangs and everything else that I think I have something to offer the kids, but I still kept it as up to the parents. But I do find that on 14, when you think about it, that was where Uncle Martin rolled back. I said at that time it was 2,000 people, but I believe now I can honestly say it was more than 2,000 people, because when I Googled this just an hour or two ago, unless they're going to change it, it's you go under the worst on January, numbers, January 6th, 1975, Boston Garden, worst riot in history at a rock concert. You'll get some information that I gave you in 14, but I didn't know that it was more than this. Say, because there was a fellow named Stephen Rosenblatt, and Rosenblatt said that they normally had no problems with kids spending the night at the concerts, which you kids don't know about because I don't think they let you spend the night there anymore. But what happened then was by midnight, somebody with a crowbar opened up a lock, got in to the Boston concert area, and started a riot. And all they have is some people in the crowd. They got into the empty auditorium and did approximately $50,000 worth of damage. So the mayor, not the mayor, it was Stephen Rosenblatt, that decided to open up the concession stands early to sell the tickets. So it calmed a lot of it down. So by 2:30, when they opened up the concession, they opened up the ticket agency early, which you never do is open it up early, but they did because of what was going on. So from 2:30, it took 2:30 to 6 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock in the morning for 9,000 tickets to be sold. So the mayor of Boston said he's not going to put up with this. So he canceled the Led Zeppelin concert in January 6th, and I believe it was supposed to be February 4th that they were supposed to have that concert there, which never happened. In fact, I don't believe Led Zeppelin ever played in Boston after that. So the next concert that Led Zeppelin would be playing would be February 14th, 1975 in Long Island, which Uncle Martin just happened to be at because he spent the night at Grand Central Station. And I was literally seven, well, there was Larry and Tom, and then I guess 4 guys, right? And 4, 5, 6, me, 7. Hey, that's spiritual again. I was the 7th one in line. And the guy behind me is the one that jumped out, as I said in episode 14, and did all the stuff he did. And my point was on that, as I said, it was, I didn't know if it was 1,000 or 2,000. It had to have been thousands of people. Because if you think about it, if they had 9,000 tickets sold in Boston and they canceled it, that means that there was thousands of people waiting in line that this one little guy said that he's not going to put up with. We're going to do what we did in the last concession stand. When he said that, that's when I stepped out and said what I was going to do. I mean, what I did in episode 14. That's all I'm going to say. It's just that it only does take one person to stand forth, kids, and stop a mob riot is all I was trying to get across on episode 14. But for some reason, there was 21 people that didn't like it. But there was 37 at this time that did like it. So all I'm saying is, kids and parents and guardians, anybody that might come across Uncle Martin, all I'm saying is, you know what? I don't care. Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's all. I mean, I don't care, but I guess I'm concerned that you would give me a thumbs down. But at least I can feel more on what people really are thinking. I guess that's my say. So I hit upon a little bit more on the dreams, the foundation of dreams, how important they are, how really when you kids and whoever's listening have a piece of paper and pencil at your bedside, have a nightlight, and once you wake up with, it's going to be so much that you're going to be writing it down so quickly, and while you're writing it, you might be forgetting even, but you're going to write so much more down. You can almost write a page. Maybe you can write 2 pages. Do it. Write those 2 pages. Write that whole page, because I promise you this, when you wake up from that middle of the night writing it down, you're going to say, hey, I remember the boat. I remember the water. I remember, and by the way, a truck. A truck means work. anything that you're writing in is usually your body itself. So is it a positive truck? Is it a well maintained truck? What do you got on the truck? Do you have do you have a boat on the truck? Is the truck is it is the boat on the truck and does the truck is the truck able to get to the water? Does the truck have no tires? The tires flat? You have a boat on top of your truck. You can't get to the water. Well, that's definitely a boat is recognizable you in some respect, trying to get to the water, trying to get to the spiritual growth that you might be trying to get to. All these things. Does the boat have barnacles on it? You know, all you boat owners, you know about having a boat. Eventually, you have to take the barnacles off. Or the barnacle? Can you eat the barnacles? No. But what are the barnacles on the boat? Are you going to make a soup out of it? No, you can't make. Can you make a barnacle soup? I don't know. I don't think so. I think barnacles would be that lesser self, that part of us that has attached itself to you, maybe something very negative that's attached to your boat that you might have to scrape off. Maybe it's scraping off some of the lesser things in us that we don't need to hold on to anymore, or that have attached themselves to you that you might have to get rid of. We all know boats don't need barnacles. Boats don't need barnacles. So, all the things that you're going to write down at night when you're waking up, as you wake up in the middle of the night, everyone does. You're going to say, "Hey, that dream's real." Oh, I'll write. I don't have to write it down. I'll remember. Yeah, right. All you're going to remember when you wake up in the morning is going to be maybe water, maybe the boat. Are you going to have all that together? Not usually. So that's how important it is. Whenever you get your dream, to write it down immediately, and that way you'll have more to work with. Because as you write it down, you'll see that it does mean one or two topics in your life that is happening at the moment, or that has happened that you might have to work out now, or that's gonna happen tomorrow, a week, 2 years. In the past I told you about episode 54, the 7-day fast. I do have 5 up and 4 down on that one for whatever reason. When I had that dream 2 years in 74, and then 2 years later in 76, it comes true. So it can come in all different time lengths, time frames. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen in 2 years. But normally it does when you start diagnosing them like you should be doing. It's gonna come out really positive for you when it happens right in front of you, saying, "Oh wow, that's that deja vu." The deja vu. I feel like I've done this before. That was your dream. More than likely, it could have been a past life, and it could very well be just the dream you had, whatever time it was that now it's clicking in for you. That's deja. I know about that. And then that's your subconscious and kind of higher self telling your conscious what's going on. That's all. That's when you want to know more of yourselves. And I know there's people out there saying, "I already know myself. I know myself quite well." Well, do you know your subconscious? Do you know your higher self? Is the only question I have for you. And you don't have to know your subconscious, and you don't have to know your higher self. It's always going to be a free choice. You want to go in that direction. So we're going to keep it on a short one this time. Do I have any short ones? I think there's an 8-minute one in there, and that was mountain lion tracks. That's because it fell off the tripod. And it seems like mountain lion tracks is 45 is pretty positive. That was A, and then mountain lion tracks B. But I'm just saying, kids, dreams are very important. Parents, guardians, they're very important. When your kids tell you dreams, you might want to look up some of this stuff and say, "Hey, how is it relating? Just give it a shot. Put it on the back shelf. I didn't say believe Uncle Martin. I'm just saying it might be a foundation for somebody that wants to know more about their dreams. That's all. As you well know, if not already, Uncle Martin is here to help you. Hopefully, I'm not hurting anyone's feelings. But if I am, on any of those other episodes that I have a thumb down, from my heart, I am saying I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. But again, kids, you're not gonna please everybody here on this planet. You can just do the best you can. That's all. And we'll leave it at that. So until we see each other again, which is next Sunday, I want you all to be well. And remember your dreams, to write them down. Until then, aloha and be well.